Maybe I could help. You're out.
Kang.
Hey, welcome back to ScreenCrush. I'm Ryan Airy, and what is next for Loki and the MCU after the ending of Loki Season 2? So, while the second season answered a lot of our burning questions, it also presented us with even more questions, such as, are Avengers the Kang Dynasty and Avengers Secret Wars even still happening? How do multiversal guardians like the Watcher and Man-Thing connect to Loki? And who will replace Kang as the Multiverse Saga's main antagonist? And how all of this is apparently laying the groundwork for an Avengers vs. X-Men movie.
Yourself.
Wait, what do you mean, who's replacing Kang?
Well, in yesterday's video, we discussed a rumor that Jonathan Majors apparently has a clause in his contract that only he could play Kang. So that makes it difficult for Marvel to simply recast the character following Majors' legal troubles. Now, in that video, we discussed how they likely have a good faith clause, it all depends on the legal system, etc. Watch that video, it's great. So now, though, we think that Marvel has already begun shifting the direction of the Multiverse Saga away from Kang as its main antagonist.
Why do you think that?
Well, because if Marvel still actually planned on having Kang as its big bad, Loki Season 2 would have ended very differently.
What do you mean?
Well, the Season 2 finale of Loki seemingly wrapped up the whole Kang debacle. Loki won. He Who Remains has been replaced as the overseer of the multiverse, and the TVA is now monitoring every variant of He Who Remains that could threaten the multiverse.
I guess one of them caused a little bit of a ruckus on 616 adjacent realm, but they handled it, so we're all good for now.
If Marvel's plan was to still set up Kang as a rising multiversal threat, it'd stand to reason that this season would have ended with Loki in chains and Kang back at the top, setting up his future altercation with the Avengers. But this season ended with Kang yet again being defeated and becoming, well, completely irrelevant. In fact, this finale might have made the entire multiverse saga irrelevant.
Oh no, the entire saga?
Well, yeah, I mean, if Marvel wanted to ditch the entire multiverse plot, they could easily use the Loki Season 2 finale to wrap up the entire storyline. They could say that Loki's sacrifice and discovery of his glorious purpose saved the multiverse, and that sacrifice is now allowing reality to flow naturally and everyone to have true free will. But we know that Marvel isn't in the game of letting their dead characters rest. Wolverine had the perfect ending with Logan, but he's coming back in Deadpool 3. Tony Stark had the perfect ending in Endgame, but I wouldn't be surprised if he, or at least Robert Downey Jr., returned for Secret Wars. And while Marvel may be willing to backtrack on having Kang as their new big bad, we know they aren't going to abandon the whole multiverse saga as a whole. Nor should they. There is a lot of awesome stuff they can still do even without Kang. In fact, with Kang out of the picture, it actually opens the door for potentially even better multiversal stories to be told.
Yar there, hello! Oh hey, you wearing a little hat there? I'm a pirate now!
Dude, if you want to be a pirate, that's fine, but what I think you're really doing is trying to forge a new identity to cover up some kind of physical insecurity about yourself.
Yeah right, I'm losing my hair.
Dude, if your hair is thinning, then don't try to cover it up. Actually do something about it with Keeps. They're the sponsor of this video. You won't believe how many guys start losing their hair, but then they put off doing something about it. Keeps is clinically proven to work. With Keeps, I get a personalized plan from a licensed medical provider without even having to leave my home. I can even message this medical provider at any time via their secure messaging portal.
Wow, you really use Keeps?
I sure do. You see guys, there's actually a history of hair loss in my family, so when my hair started to thin, I didn't waste any time.
Yeah, but does it really work?
Yes, according to clinical studies, treatments offered by Keeps are 90% effective at treating hair loss and can increase hair growth by up to 35%. In fact, most Keeps customers see results within 6 months of starting treatment. So it is very important to act fast, and you have to start early and stick with it. The sooner you start using Keeps, the more hair you'll save. Keeps stopped my hair loss right in its tracks, and they have helped nearly 1 million men like us keep their hair. That is why Keeps has more than 4,500 5-star reviews. So guys, if you're noticing that you're losing your hair, don't ignore it or hope it goes away. Do something about it right now, because hair loss stops with Keeps. To get a special offer, go to keeps.com/ScreenCrush or click the link in the description. That's KEEPS.com/ScreenCrush. Now back to what I was saying. So despite the Loki Season 2 finale looking like a final chapter, we know that it can't be the end. The multiverse saga will continue, and Loki is literally at the center of it. It's also worth mentioning that while Marvel's Kang expert, Jeff Loveness, was removed as the writer for Avengers the Kang Dynasty, Marvel's Loki and multiverse expert, Michael Waldron, has replaced him. Yet another clue that Kang is on the way out and Loki will return.
So like, what exactly is Loki's role now? Does he control the multiverse?
No, Loki is not controlling the multiverse, he's just kind of holding all of reality together. And in doing so, he is protecting the TVA from being destroyed. And it's the TVA who are policing the multiverse and helping to prevent Kang variants from taking over or to prevent incursions from happening.
An incursion occurs when the boundary between two universes erodes.
and they collide.
There are still going to be multiversal stories going forward. Like we know, for example, that Deadpool 3 is going to be very multiverse-centric. Rumor has it that we'll even be seeing the TVA and incursions in that movie, which means that despite Loki's sacrifice and his holding together of the multiverse, individual realities can still fall victim to their own free will and incursions can still occur. And that's where the TVA will come in to help. Now, the TVA is not indestructible. We could see a very powerful adversary like Doctor Doom attempt to overthrow the TVA and remove Loki from his throne. Or even a chaotic and brutal war between universes could occur, a war that the TVA couldn't stop. But before we get into all that and how Loki and the TVA could be defeated, we need to establish some continuity. To better understand the current state of the multiverse saga, we need to understand exactly when Loki took the throne. Now, while the second season of Loki is part of Phase 5 of the MCU, the story itself actually takes place at the beginning of Phase 4, prior to all the other projects, except for, of course, Black Widow.
Natasha Romanoff is in violation of the Sokovia Accords.
Films and series like Spider-Man No Way Home, WandaVision, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, What If, those all take place after the Loki Season 2 finale, meaning that while those stories were taking place, Loki was sitting at the throne at the end of time, not He Who Remains. That really makes perfect sense because, apart from Quantumania, no other film or show has had any mention of Kang, but they've had plenty of mentions of the multiverse. So we aren't going to give you like a fanfic of what's to come, not in this video anyway. We probably will eventually because it's a lot of fun to do that, but we are going to connect some dots between Loki, the Watcher, Doctor Strange, Man-Thing, the X-Men, and a demonic entity that will bring together the multiverse saga to its final conclusion in Secret Wars.
A demonic entity? Are you talking about Mr. Hexagon himself? Mephisto?
No, not the beast! Not the beast!
No, I'm not talking about Mephisto or Not the Bees, although we do have a Not the Bees shirt for sale in our merch store. And guys, while I'm on the subject of the merch store, thank all of you for watching, supporting our channel, continuously shopping our merch store. We have some great deals for Christmas right now. We have a new Doug ornament as Hermie the Elf, and we have this brand new Din and Grogu shirt parodying the E.T. Fly Over the Moon. And of course, this Frasier Beast, because we're very excited to see Kelsey Grammer in the MCU as Beast. And guys, don't forget, we have these Doug plushies for sale. Very limited time only 2 more weeks left on this campaign. If you go to the link below, go to Makeship. They're putting together this campaign for us to make these things. They're cute, they're great. You got to order them now or the deal will be gone. That's not a sales tactic. It's like literally a limited campaign with 2 weeks left and we're still trying to meet our goal. So links for all that are below and we have a live show coming up next February. Link for that is below. You can get tickets to everything. Thanks for watching. Now, Doug, I am not talking about Mephisto. I'm talking about another demon connected to the Darkhold from WandaVision and Multiverse of Madness. And that demon is also connected to the multiverse. This is a demon that could replace Kang as the Multiverse Saga's new big bad. I am talking about Chthon.
Bless you.
Thank you. Now, in the comics, Chthon is one of Earth's elder gods. Chthon fell from his graces and became a dark demonic entity with a lust for power, and he became one of Earth's very first dark magic wielders. Chthon also created many demonic races that worshipped him, including even these little guys that we met in She-Hulk.
Actual demons?
Now, in Multiverse of Madness, we found out that Chthon also wrote the Darkhold and predicted the rise of the being known as the Scarlet Witch. And in Multiverse of Madness, we saw Wanda fulfill that prophecy and use the Darkhold to dreamwalk across the multiverse.
Eons ago, the first demon, Chthon, carved his dark magic into the Darkhold.
Now, while we talk a lot about different scientific theories and whatnot regarding time travel and universes when we discuss the Multiverse Saga, we have to remember that this saga has also had a lot of focus on gods. There's the satanic imagery we saw throughout WandaVision and Loki. Loki himself being a god and discusses what kind of god he needed to be.
I know what kind of god I need to be for you.
We had Thor: Love and Thunder, which introduced us to many gods of the MCU. Moon Knight introduced us to a plethora of different Egyptian gods. And What If even went as far to confirm that Uatu the Watcher, while very powerful, is not a god.
You're a god. You can undo this.
I'm not a god.
And the Eternals gave us Celestials, the literal creators of the universes. So it would make a lot of sense for a fallen god like Chthon to be the Multiverse Saga's new big bad instead of Kang. A fallen god who is looking to overthrow the god at the end of time, Loki, and to take his throne as the ruler of all reality.
I'm your villain.
Now look, I know the name Chthon doesn't really roll off the tongue like Thanos or Kang, so it could be that maybe they'll take Chthon and say, oh, sometimes he goes by another name, Dormammu, or some other villain that we've seen throughout the saga that's that's like of a more mystical nature. So like in my mind, Chthon could just equal Dormammu, but for this video, I'm gonna keep calling him Chthon.
That's my name, don't wear it out.
So Chthon being the big bad of the Multiverse Saga would really tie the paranormal side of the MCU into the overall story. In the comics, Chthon's magic was responsible for the creation of things like vampires and werewolves, and we already got our first MCU werewolf in Werewolf by Night. And in that movie, we also met potential members of the Midnight Suns, more on them in just a bit, as well as a multiversal guardian, the Man-Thing. Now in the comics, Man-Thing's swamp is an entrance to a place known as the Nexus of All Realities, where Man-Thing serves as the guardian of the Nexus of All Realities.
You shall not pass!
And this may be a bit of a stretch, but Loki's throne does look pretty swampy.
What are you doing in my swamp?
Stretch.
I said it was a stretch, okay? But here's what's not a stretch. We know in the comics that Man-Thing is the guardian of the Nexus of All Realities, and we've already seen the Nexus of All Realities in the MCU. This place between the borders of universes where the Watcher resides is within the Nexus of All Realities, as is this place in the Multiverse of Madness where the Book of Ashanti resides. Multiverse of Madness even used this door imagery to enter the realm, paralleling the same panel of Man-Thing entering the realm in the comics. Now this realm is that very border between all universes that we heard Mr. Fantastic speak about in Multiverse of Madness, a realm that must be protected or risk the destruction of one or both realities. So if one wanted to overthrow Loki in the TVA and become the ruler of all existence, you would need to make your way to this realm. And in the comics, that's exactly what a group of demons do. In the comics, we see the Nexus of All Realities attacked by a group of demons serving a demonic being called the Overmaster, an evil entity who seeks to take control of all reality. So I think that in the MCU, we'll see them combine Chthon and the Overmaster, and maybe Dormammu, into one character like they've done before with characters like He Who Remains and Kang, who are two separate characters in the comics. Now the MCU's Multiverse Saga has introduced us to demon-fighting characters like the Man-Thing, Black Knight, and Blade, who are both teased in the Eternals post-credits scene.
Sure you're ready for that, Mr. Whitman?
And there's also characters like Moon Knight, Elsa Bloodstone, and Agatha Harkness. So we've said for a while we think their plan is to introduce a team like the Midnight Suns. And this would be a more mystical team of Marvel heroes. And it could be those characters who try to save Loki from Chthon's initial attack on the Nexus of All Realities. Now, like I mentioned earlier, the Nexus of All Realities is essentially that boundary between universes. And if we see that boundary begin to erode via an incursion, or following Chthon and his demon army's attack on Loki in the TVA, that is what could lead us straight into a film like Secret Wars. It can also be the very incursion that we heard mentioned in Multiverse of Madness that allowed for Chthon to find his way into the Nexus of All Realities.
How did you get here? By Beanstalk. How did you get up here?
That's all pretty complicated. I mean, what's this got to do with the X-Men? You said they were going to fight the Avengers.
Yes, so both times we've traveled to another universe in any of the MCU movies, we saw the X-Men. Multiverse of Madness gave us Universe 838, which of course had Professor X, confirming the existence of an X-Men team. And in the Marvel's post-credits scene, we saw Monica enter a universe where another Fox-era X-Men alum showed up, Kelsey Grammer's Beast.
Morning, Logan. Late start.
Again, check out our Fraser Beast shirt on our merch store. Now, we've actually got a video up on the channel right now discussing which universe that might have been in the Marvels and how that could connect to Universe 838, X-Men the Animated Series, the Wolverine we're meeting in Deadpool 3. It's a very fun video. You should check it out. But I bring all of this up because it's looking like we are definitely going to see a war between realities like we did in the Secret Wars comics, when the main Marvel Comics 616 universe went to war with the Ultimate Universe, numbered 1610. And just like we heard mentioned here in the TVA and by He Who Remains himself.
Long ago, there was a vast multiversal war. Countless unique timelines battled each other for supremacy.
The peace between realities erupted.
Now I think the MCU is going to give us that war between realities, and that other realities team of heroes won't be the Avengers, it's going to be the X-Men. And I think this big Avengers vs. X-Men Clash of the Titans is the perfect movie to replace Avengers the Kang Dynasty as the lead-in to Avengers Secret Wars. An Avengers vs. X-Men film could serve as the Multiverse Saga's Civil War and Infinity War, show our favorite heroes in an epic battle to save their realities and being met with moral quandaries, such as the consequences of destroying another reality to protect their own. But come the end of the film, our two teams of multiversal heroes unite against a greater threat, Chthon. And who's going to convince these two universes at war to work together to save reality? Loki will be overthrown by Chthon, but he'll be saved by the Midnight Suns. And then we'll see Loki take on his comic book role of Avenger Prime, a story where Loki formed a multiversal team of heroes to save the multiverse. It was Loki who was responsible for the first formation of the Avengers back in 2012, and it will again be Loki who is able to bring peace to a war between realities and lead the fight against Chthon to save the multiverse from another tyrant who seeks the throne. This battle will be the central part of Avengers Secret Wars, and if it follows the comic book, what we'll see there is a patchwork planet composed of elements from different realities. So basically, every Marvel film you've ever seen is going to have an element or a character or a hero on this battle world.
Shut up and take my money!
And then, come the end of Secret Wars, we will likely see the realities merged, just like in the comics.
Hey, I just want to say thanks for the keeps. Now I got to keep my hair.
Awesome, man. And just a reminder, to stop your hair loss today, click our link in the description to get a special offer from Keeps. So that's our thoughts on Loki and the Multiverse Saga as a whole. Big shout out to Colton Ogburn, the writer of this video. So, let us know, do you think Kang is out? Will his big movie be replaced with something like Avengers vs. X-Men? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below or at either of us on Twitter. And if it's your first time here, please subscribe, smash that bell for alerts. For ScreenCrush, I'm Ryan Airy.
I mean, nobody asked me, but I just think if you're going to do a new MCU big baddie, it should be Eric Killmonger. I mean, he was the best villain in any of the first three phases, and he just kind of died. And I thought they could do a lot more with him. And then what if they showed that he could pursue cosmic power? And, you know, Eric Killmonger, everybody likes him. It's a win-win. Bring him back. Bring like a new Eric version Killmonger back.